Welcome on the channel Nice Stories. Today we have intriguing story about
I met Emma over 8 years ago during our sophomore year in college. It was one of those chance encounters. You know, the kind where fate seems to intervene. We bumped into each other outside the campus library, her spilling coffee all over my notes. She apologized profusely, her cheeks flushing with embarrassment, and I couldn't help but laugh it off. That moment sparked something between us, an unspoken connection that grew stronger with each passing day. We quickly became inseparable. Study sessions turned into late-night walks, and before long we were spending almost every moment together. We moved in together shortly after, turning a tiny apartment into our cozy sanctuary, filled with laughter, love, and shared dreams. Together we navigated the challenges of college life, celebrated our graduations side by side, and even pursued graduate degrees in tandem. Our journey didn't stop there. We landed our first jobs in the same city, rented our first grown-up apartment, a quaint place with a creaky staircase and a leaky faucet, and began building our life together. For 6 years, we lived near her parents, George and Linda. While they were polite and welcoming, there was always a subtle distance I couldn't quite bridge. They cherished Emma deeply, and I sometimes felt like an outsider in their tight-knit trio. Despite that, our relationship flourished. We were each other's rock, best friend, and biggest supporter. When the COVID-19 pandemic struck, the world seemed to shift beneath our feet. Emma faced a traumatic experience at her job. She was sexually harassed by a superior, leaving her shaken and vulnerable. I, too, felt the weight of dissatisfaction in my own career. We saw an opportunity for a fresh start, a chance to redefine our lives away from the shadows of her past and the stagnation of mine. I suggested moving back to my hometown, a picturesque place nestled between rolling hills and serene lakes. Emma was hesitant, her reluctance rooted in the fear of the unknown and leaving behind the familiar. Our discussions grew heated, and in a moment of desperation, I issued an ultimatum. It was unfair, and I regret the pressure it placed on her, but I genuinely believed the move would be beneficial for both of us. Reluctantly, she agreed, and we settled into a charming house in my family's neighborhood. To my relief and joy, Emma quickly fell in love with the town. She bonded with my parents, attended community events, and soon became an integral part of the close-knit community. Her smile returned, brighter than ever, and I felt our relationship deepen amidst the newfound happiness. Inspired by the vibrant atmosphere, Emma decided to pursue her dream of starting her own wellness business. She was passionate about holistic health and wanted to make a positive impact on others' lives. I couldn't have been prouder. I encouraged her every step of the way, watching as she poured her heart and soul into building something meaningful. Her business took off faster than we could have imagined. She became a local sensation, joining various boards and organizations, her enthusiasm and dedication earning her the admiration of many. However, as her star rose, challenges emerged. She was let go from her regular job, and while her business was gaining momentum, it wasn't yet profitable. Financial strain began to weigh on us, casting shadows over our once bright future. Determined to support her dream, I stepped up. I juggled my full-time job with assisting her business, clocking in an extra 20 to 30 hours a week. My days blurred into an endless cycle of work and exhaustion. To help stabilize her venture, I sold my small real estate assets, a venture I'd nurtured before we married, to purchase an office space for her. Weekends and evenings were spent renovating the old building, transforming it into a welcoming haven for her clients. Meanwhile, Emma's health required careful attention. Managing her diabetes added another layer of stress, with medical bills piling up. I pushed myself harder at work, striving for promotions to ease our financial burden. Every sacrifice felt worthwhile when I saw the spark in her eyes, the joy her work brought her. But somewhere along the line, we began to drift apart. My constant working meant I was often absent, both physically and emotionally. Emma became increasingly involved in the community, surrounded by new friends and admirers. I noticed subtle changes, a distance in her gaze, conversations that felt surface level. A close friend reached out, hesitant but insistent that I needed to hear something important. He connected me with someone who had been trying to reach me, a man who provided evidence that Emma had been active on multiple dating apps. Over the past month, she had been sexting with numerous men, sharing intimate photos, some taken in our own bedroom. She discussed meeting them in our home and the office space I'd worked tirelessly to provide. My heart pounded as I confronted Emma. Tears streamed down her face as she confessed. She claimed she felt isolated and craved attention, that my absence left a void she didn't know how to fill. She insisted she never physically met any of these men, that it was a misguided attempt to cope with her loneliness. As if the betrayal wasn't enough, she revealed another secret. She had terminated a pregnancy without telling me. We had been trying for a child, a shared dream we often spoke about late into the night. The weight of this revelation was crushing. Desperate for clarity, I insisted on a lie detector test. Emma agreed, and the results indicated she hadn't physically met any of the men. While this offered some relief, the emotional betrayal was undeniable. Trust, once the bedrock of our relationship, had been eroded. Emma tried to explain, her voice trembling as she spoke of feeling neglected and unappreciated. She accused me of being emotionally unavailable, too consumed with work to notice her struggles. I countered that everything I'd done, the long hours, the sacrifices, was for us, to build a future we could both be proud of. It was a painful irony. Emma despised her father for cheating on her mother, a wound that never fully healed. To see her repeat similar patterns was both baffling and heartbreaking. In an attempt to salvage our marriage, I proposed a post-nuptial agreement, a simple 50-50 split of assets to protect us both should things deteriorate further. She refused, despite my willingness to accommodate her preferences. Her reluctance deepened my doubts about her commitment to rebuilding our relationship. Friends and family offered a chorus of mixed advice. Some urged forgiveness, emphasizing the years of love and shared history. Others insisted that trust, once broken, could never be fully restored. I was torn between my lingering love for Emma and the undeniable pain she had caused. Sleepless nights became my norm. I replayed memories of our early days, questioning when things had begun to unravel. Was I to blame? Could I have done more to prevent this? The uncertainty gnawed at me. Emma sought therapy, both individual and couples counseling, in hopes of mending the fractures between us. She made efforts to reconnect, planning date nights and trying to bridge the emotional gap. Yet a lingering doubt persisted. One evening, as we sat on the porch watching the sunset paint the sky with hues of orange and pink, I turned to her. "Do you think we can truly move past this?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. She looked at me, her eyes filled with tears. "I want to try," she replied softly. "I love you, and I regret everything I've done." "I love you too," I admitted, "but I don't know if love is enough anymore." The silence that followed was heavy, filled with unspoken fears and uncertainties. In the end, I realized that forgiveness doesn't always equate to reconciliation. Trust, once shattered, is incredibly difficult to rebuild. As much as it pained me, I decided to prioritize my well-being and step away. We parted ways amicably, the process filled with bittersweet moments as we divided assets and memories. I moved into a modest apartment across town, beginning the daunting task of rebuilding my life. So, what would you do in my situation? Is it possible to repair a relationship after such a profound betrayal? Can love truly conquer all, or are there some wounds too deep to heal? I'm grappling with whether walking away was the right choice, or if I should have fought harder to salvage what we had. Update. To clarify, Emma never physically met with any of the men. It was limited to online interactions and sexting. She passed the lie detector test confirming this. While the absence of physical infidelity offers some solace, the emotional betrayal and secrecy remain deeply painful. I'm reaching out for advice and perspectives. If anyone has navigated similar situations or can offer insight, I'd greatly